homework. I'm just like we just got done with the male anatomy, and I'm like, I don't want to go any further in depth with that.
Yeah. No kidding. It's like really crazy to think about how different. Like, we're all the same species.
Right.
We're just biologically very different. Very different. We're hardwired. Very different. Yeah, that's crazy when you think about like humans on this planet. Every single human was birthed by a female.
Mm-hmm.
That's 7.6 billion people. Like, males don't have that.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of crazy. Yeah, he was like, oh, what do you think about this? I'm like, no. I'm like,
No.
that's... Yeah, human growth and development is like...
And she's bold. Like she's
Who's your teacher?
Miss Lozano.
Oh, yeah.
And she talked about the pulling out method, and I was like, whoa, can we not go into depth about that?
Oh, so it's like a sex ed thing as well.
Yeah, and it's like no, I mean, like, I don't know. We talk about parenting, like just being a good parent, and I'm like, our project is, I'm not doing that project. Like, I'm not molding it. Like, Clay, I'm good. No, she's dripping. I will take an F on that project.
That is hilarious.
And she's like, I'm just like, in our class, it's like just full of immature, like, younger kids. Like, it's usually like sophomores and juniors. Oh my god, there's 2 boys in there, and they like sit in the corner awkward, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I went to a private Christian school, so like our health class was like not like here.
Yeah,
Something.
yeah. I can't. I dread going to her class every day now. I have her brightening up the day.
Shoot, that is true. Like all the kids, like when they go through like the development stages of a kid, like that's nutty.
Yeah, I'm not ready for that. Like, we had to write a letter.
You guys, we had to watch a birthing video.
Yes. Like yesterday, we watched a video of like the path to like the egg and sperm, and I was like, not okay watching that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm like, we have to do that. Like, we recently just like wrote a letter to our future child. And I was like, whoa, like I'll try to it one day. I think just finished it, and I was like, oh, it was like 3 pages long. I was like, I'm gonna do that again. Yeah, she's an interesting teacher.
Yeah, sounds like she tries to be interactive.
Right, and like she can connect to everything. She's like, okay. Happy birthday, by the way. Thank you.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
It's Mr. Gant's birthday.
It's Mr. Gant's birthday?
You guys all look very tall. Is it up for all? I want to burn himself.
Oh, this way of me. But you know, Jacob.
Also, couldn't figure that out.
I don't know why you do this.
Whoa. I had to tell Alex I couldn't go to homecoming. Huh?
She wasn't gonna go on. She was gonna go with
With who? Guys? Which one? Oh. What grade is he in? Margaret? What school did he go to?
I forget.
I'm gonna have to call it to his school.
Dude, I was talking to my friend, right? I was like, my friend basically just asked my ex to get film for me. She said yes. And he was like, that's fine. And I was like, he's already going. And he was like, oh, I was like, I see you.
Carolyn and overdosing party.
And I said, I feel like Jaden.
Fight Robert and Bob Allen. So he's coming to our school.
He came out.
I'm gonna have to see at the house.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah,
It's like a sausage that's like really, maybe it doesn't talk about it.
So then I bought it.
I'm gonna move over there until
Once I try raw boss, please, the water is
Bob. I'm gonna move over there until
I'll try
Hey Juan, can I sit there? Say everything. So yeah, I'm not really homecoming for this year. Okay, well, listen. Sit there.
Alright, good morning guys. Your instructions here are up on the board. Today we are going to start with a little brainstorming activity, and then you will we'll do a few notes after that. So if you get out a sheet of paper, it can be in your notebook, and that's totally fine. Just make sure that you're getting it written down. A lot of you probably weren't thrilled with how you thought the open note quiz went, which makes sense based on what I've seen as I graded. So please make sure that you are following along and doing what the board says.
Yeah, just go like this and then like that. That's like. Doing this. That's what it looks like. You rub your hands.
All right, we're ready to get started here. Up on the board, you're going to get. What are you doing?
I was trying to show it.
So you're going to get a scenario up on the board. It's your job to answer the question that the scenario gives you. I'll read it to you. I'll point you in the right direction. And then I'm going to give you 5 minutes or so, you and your partner, to work together through the scenario so that you can do a little brainstorming here for me this morning. So here's what we've got. It says a series of several shoe print impressions are found at a crime scene. Very generic on purpose. The shoe prints are very clear and very detailed. The shoe prints were found in soft mud, meaning they're really good shoe prints. We can get a lot of detail from them, and they're not going away anytime soon, okay? So kind of the ideal shoe print scenario here. Your task, your goal, is to write 10 things that we could possibly learn by observing these shoe prints, or what kinds of things could we infer about the crime scene by looking at the shoe prints as well. So what kind of stuff can we learn? What kind of stuff can we infer about the situation based on these shoe prints? So, really generic. Come up with anything and everything we could learn from shoe prints. You're just going to make a list here in your notebook or on this piece of paper. Come up with
Zach, your task is up on the board. Please get it done.
Well, 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. Come up with something. Your goal here is 10. Well, even more. There's a lot of things there.
You have a 5 bits of 90
Like on the bottom.
I can't.
Please excuse the interruption, but all students going to the International Career and College Fair with foreign language need to meet at the front office. Thank you.
I'm trying to think what it is. Yeah, Nike Air, Nike. Yeah, the. Maga. Why did I just say Maga? Maga 38. Foot size, the size and shape, the design pattern, the shoe brand, how it's the type of shoe, the type of shape or whatever, the width,
Yeah, just grab this one and sit on the back table. Not a problem.
hair, maybe wet.
Losing dentures.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we're
Alright. What did we come up with here? If you got something good, raise your hand. Let's figure out what we got. Okay, bro, what'd you say? Wonderful. We did a whole lab about that. We could find out the person's height, right? Or estimated height. Yeah, everyone should have had that one because everyone just did a huge lab about it. Very good, very good. Dominic, what do you have?
the pattern on the bottom of the shoe.
So we can see the pattern on the bottom of the shoe. So what I want to know is, what does that tell us? What can we learn from that? Connor?
Like the brand.
The brand of shoe, yes. Very good. Parker?
If there were suspect things,
Explain.
like if the crime happened and they walked away.
So maybe like you're saying we could learn like events that happened at the crime scene? Okay. What'd you say? How would we determine that? What's that? What would tell us if it was? Okay.
Yeah,
We'll put it. Alright, I need a few more. Scarecrow's got another one.
Where they were heading, maybe?
Yeah, great. The direction they were traveling, right?
Yep.
Alright, let's hear from someone we haven't heard from. There we go. The shape of the shoe. What does the shape of the print tell us?
It was a boot.
Yeah, sure. So, like, what type of shoe it is? So, I mean, is it a boot or a tennis shoe, etc.? That's pretty good. Juan, what do you got?
Like the walking pattern?
The walking pattern. What do you mean?
It's like the sizes from one print to another.
So that would be, are they walking slow?
Yeah.
Are they walking fast? Are they running? That sort of thing. Or maybe they're limping and their patterns are not evenly spaced. That's a good one. There's got to be more out there. What else we got? What else we got? Alright, I want to hear 3 more. We need 3 more up on the board. If you've got something that we don't have, go ahead and share it now. There, beautiful. So if we find 4 different shoe prints at the crime scene, we know there were probably 4 different people. That's a great one. Number of people. Zach, some quick.
Shoe size.
Wonderful, that's an easy one. Shoe size. Mason.
If they were inebriated.
Oh, we can put that. Yeah, with that. I'm just writing drunk because I don't know how to spell inebriated. Jamal. Ah, good. Timing of crime scene. If it snowed at midnight and there's prints in the snow, you know that person walked there after midnight. There's a lot of things we can learn about timing of events based on the prints. Gabriel,
I was gonna say how long the shoe print that is, but maybe.
how long this shoe prints? That might be okay.
You can tell it was on land.
That makes sense to me. Alright, anybody have anything else that's not up on our list?
Did they mention the wear of the shoe, like how worn it is?
No, we didn't mention. So some prints are going to be nice and crispy because the shoe just came out of the box. Some are going to be real worn down, right? Because you've been walking on them for miles and miles and miles. So we could tell if it's a new looking shoe or a not new looking shoe sometimes. That's pretty good. I don't know if you'd be able to smell them, but if it was an old shoe,
I'm talking about like, if they're not old.
yeah, you'd be like, you've got some old shoe.
Yeah,
Alright, anybody have anything else they want to throw up on the board? Cool, this is a pretty good list. Did everyone write these down as we go? Did everyone add to their list? Does anyone need a minute to catch up? Okay, yeah, write a couple more. Write a couple more and then I'll bump it forward to the next slide. We ready to go? Okay, so the way today works, we're gonna do just a few notes. So continue your list here as we go. Here's what I came up with for my list for what we could learn. So I talked about events before crime, events after a crime. We said some of that stuff. We said number of criminals. There wasn't a building involved, but I said you could tell maybe where someone went into a building and exited a building based on which way their shoe prints were pointing near a door. We could figure out positioning of things based on where the shoe prints are, which direction people were moving. And then we talked about the time of movement. So most of those probably all went up on our list except for the entry and exit one. If you want to add that to your list, you can. And then a couple of other things that we also said, how quickly they were moving could be possible. Definitely the type of movement, if the shoe prints are close together, they're walking. If the shoe prints are really far apart, they're probably running. And then the last thing I put, maybe the person's size. So we can definitely tell how tall they are, but definitely also heavier people are going to leave a little bit deeper impression than someone that's lighter. Now you may not always be able to use that, but sometimes that's a good rule of thumb that you could think about as you come across a shoe print. Alright, so we're going to jump into like regular old notes now. I think it's 4 or 5 slides we're going to do today. Not too bad. Maybe 6. I don't know. So the first thing you need to have is your definition here of footwear, which I know it seems fairly simple. Obviously a simple definition here. When we talk about footwear, when we talk about shoe impressions, we're talking about anything that is worn on the feet. So that is not your actual footprint that we're talking about here. We're going to be talking about shoes, sandals, boots, whatever you're wearing on your feet. That's what we want to talk about here in this impressions unit. So shoe prints are a type of impression. We'll talk about impressions on the next slide, but make sure you're clear here. We're not talking about your foot. We're not talking about the shape of your foot, the skin pattern on the bottom of your foot. It's all about what you're wearing, the shoes on your feet.
Somebody asked a question about who would put in the car in sandals.
You never know. Like, what if it's like if you go to California, like, they don't even own tennis shoes. They just wear sandals everywhere, flip flops and slides. Webster. They're walking around the beach. What if, yeah, Christ on beaches. Alright, next definition here, and this is kind of the big definition for the unit. What we're talking about this unit is impressions. So when we say impressions, what we mean is an object or a particular material, so think like mud or sand or something like that, that's kept the shape of another object that has been pushed up against it. So if you push your foot into the muddy ground, your foot is going to leave the shape of your shoe in that mud. That is an impression, like a molding of something. There's several examples, several ways that forensic scientists use impressions. So shoe prints is the biggest, most obvious one. We can get the most detail from that. And we're probably the most familiar about what the heck a shoe print is and what what we can gain from that. A couple of other examples. Did we watch Forensic Files where they used the tire tracks? Yeah. In the mud? Maybe we didn't watch that.
I looked at one that was similar.
Okay. So yeah, tire tracks, like a car driving through the mud, you'd be able to learn about the car. So tire tracks are good. Bite marks counts as an impression. Some people have been caught. Some famous serial killers have been caught because of their bite mark impressions. Sometimes it leaves DNA, but always the pattern of your bite is actually unique to you. So they can match up how you bite with your teeth are not like anyone else's teeth. So, yeah, lots of good impressions that are made that forensic scientists can use. We'll talk about bullets too. Next semester, we'll talk about bullets. The firing pin leaves an impression. The barrel leaves an impression. So, what's that?